Takin the crackhead, you still haven't changed. You're still messing with the stuff that eats up your brain. Used to worry about the looks when you looked alright, but what you should have been worried about is your life. Takin the crackhead, you really look a mess with your free bass and butt stinking mule train breath. Now did you ever wake up, your face stuck to the pillow? Did your mama ever call you an ugly gorilla? You're a crackhead. Tell them again, EJ. Crackhead. Leave it alone.
He pulled his gun on me. Then he said to the girl, I saw when you threw that out of the car. So he got me out of the car because he's by himself. He's scared. He got me out of the car, walked me over to the curb, handcuffed me, and sat me down on the ground. Then he went round to the girl's side of the car. When he got round to her side, he said again, I saw you when you threw that out. And he pointed with his flashlight over at the grass. She said, I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. This is about 10:30 at night, man. The neighbors heard it. Then he walked her in front of the next car where I could not hear what they were saying because I was sitting down on the curb on my own. When he came back, he shined the light in my face and said, Ike Turner, you didn't think I saw you when you threw that out. I said, man, you ain't seen me throw nothing out. Because he done found out who I was. He is going to put it on me. Then he gets on that radio and calls his buddies and tells them, you be surprised what I got. So these other police, they arrive. When they get there, then he start to rambling in the trunk. He finds a gun in there and he says, hey, look here, what we got? This is not your gun either, is it? That ain't my pistol. This ain't even my car. So you can't charge me with that, buddy. You better go find Norman and ask Norman about it. I said, I guess it belongs to Norman. He is a chief of the fire department, so it's his gun, and I'm sure he would have it registered. I didn't know it was in there. It don't belong to me. Damn. Ike Turner smoking crack with the chief of the fire department, Norman? Girl. Then he puts me in a police car and takes me to the police station. Now I was already out on bond from the other thing before. While we in the car, he got on the radio and said, last night I couldn't bust a grape. Guess what? I got Ike Turner tonight. He was just bragging to every cop he can find, man. Even when he see one down in the hallway, he bragging he got me. They fingerprinted me and booked me. They only put the cocaine on me. They didn't bother with the gun. Child. But you know, they hate the police. They hate the police mad. Policeman in his feelings, right? Because the next day they released Ike on his own recognizance, so he don't have to pay a bail, all right, or a bond, whatever it is. I don't know the difference. I'm sure you people will tell me down in the comments. The same policeman was like, we don't want you anyway. You little. You a crackhead. We want the big man, the man who got the kilos. I said, mister, I don't get involved in politics. He said, okay, you want to be fucking smart? We'll show you how to be smart. Child, they put the gun on him, but you know that was bullshit. He couldn't get a bomb because they put the gun on him, okay? You can't be possessing no gun around here and your name is the Ickety, pistol packing Ickety. Up till then, I had only got the dope, and he said your bond is $10,000, so now I need $1,000 to get out. I called Jeanette to tell her to come and get me out, but she didn't have the money to post bond. She tried to call Phil Spector. Child. Okay, now I know you like, Phil Spector, what the fuck is he doing here? When Ike Turner got in trouble previously, Phil Spector jumped out there and said that he would help Ike. I don't know what kind of help that Phil Spector thought that he could provide for Ike Turner, but what Ike Turner needed was money for a lawyer. Phil Spector never came through for him, so he had to have a court appointed attorney. I don't even know why he thought to call Phil Spector this time, because if Phil Spector ain't give him no money last time, why the hell would Phil Spector give him money this time? She tried to call Phil Spector and couldn't get the son of a bitch on the phone. Then she called his secretary and said, Ike is in jail. I have a painting I can sell. So Jeanette pawned two 12,000 paintings to Phil Spector for a lousy $1,000 to get me out. But the police were not finished with me. I thought that was... What? Hold on. So you mean that what? Phil Spector? First of all, Ike, as a crackhead, that is admirable that you still got two $12,000 paintings. And Phil was like, and wait a minute. Hold on. Phil ain't got no money no more. And then the fact that Phil bought the two paintings for $1,000, that's an insult. 2 days later, my lawyer calls and says, hey, they want to revoke your appeal bond. I said, can they do that? He said, well, I'm going to argue it. When I went down there for him to fight it, the district attorney said I was a threat to public safety. I had no business being on the streets. The judge agreed with him and slung my ass in jail. I was expecting to go home, but I was taken into custody right then. Man, I thought I was coming back home that day. Answer no. Ike's appeal bond was revoked and he went to jail on July 13th, 1989. He had to stay there 7 months before his appeal came up. Meanwhile, the other charges against him were dropped. Going to jail is the greatest thing that ever happened to me because I got my life back together, man. First of all, it got me off drugs. I wanted to stop before I went into jail, but I just couldn't. My whole environment was crack. Everybody I knew was into it. I used to say to myself daily, if I could go 5 days without this shit, I would never go back to it. So when I went to jail, I was locked up in a cell and I went a week or something without even thinking about it, just 'cause I was scared. Later on, I saw people doing it constantly in jail. They were smoking it, snorting it, doing all kinds of stuff. You got heroin, everything in there. There was more drugs in jail than on the streets. Man, that shit be crazy to me. Like, man, I know this dude, he was a big deal on the streets. I mean, he was still a great big deal when he went to jail because he had so much money still flowing because he had outside endeavors, man. But that nigga was eating Taco Bell every day. The hardest part was doing without Pastanka. That's the only thing I missed in jail. You ain't got no women. You ain't got no car. You just effed up like that, man. At night, the lights would go off in the jail and you would get to sleep for a minute, doze off, and then you would see the sheets going up and down. Ding, ding, ding. The sons of bitches were getting it on with themselves. Like, shut the hell up. Like, you ain't get the... Girl! It be killing me when he be talking, man. I mean, why he give too much information, girl? And don't make it seem like you didn't get to know yourself better in that jail. Boy, please. After 7 months in the county jail, Ike's appeal came up. It was denied. The judge said, Mr. Turner, you got a history of arrest. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I am going to give you 4 years in the state penitentiary. My head hit the table. So that was it. They took me back to the county jail to wait for the thing to pick us up and take us to the CMC, the California Men's Colony. But it was good that it happened to me because it made me. I used it positively. People might be attracted to me because I'm Ike Turner, but I don't think that is the only reason. I think I have a charisma or something. Yes. Answer yes, because say what you want to. He has that it factor. Now, he may not have that it factor on me, but he was able to have that it factor in such a way that he was able to manipulate 4 women at a time. And to me, I think that is the immature man's dream. It's a fantasy of his to be able to have several women and be with those women openly and be able to maintain it, because a lot of men can't do it. A lot of men got to lie, sneak and steal. Oh, I love you, give them babies, marry them, or at least pretend like they're going to marry them. A lot of men got to do a lot of treacherous things. One thing I will give Ike Turner is that he was pretty honest with all his hoes, you know. I mean, because that's what pimps do. They gotta be honest. I got along with the Mexican mafia, the Crips, and the Bloods. Most times, if you get along with the officers, the prisoners think you're a snitch. And if you get along with the inmates, the wardens call you a trouble stirrer. But they never did that with me. I got along with everybody in there. Boy, they were good to me. All of them were really, really good to me. They treated me like I was no damn criminal. I just didn't have no privileges. After I was in jail for a couple of years and it was almost time to get out, I got scared of leaving. Now you coming back to reality. I was clean and I knew I would never mess with drugs again because I tried it in CMC. I bought a dime rock. You know, people always saying if you were to try it again, you are hooked back up to where you left off. They tell that damn lie. I brought a dime rock in jail, man. The guy gave me the pipe and put it on there, and I smoked it. That was the nastiest shit I ever tasted in my life. I hated it. I hated the way it smelled. I hated the way it made me feel. There is no way in the world I would ever fuck around with it again. Pause. How did I turn it die again? Didn't he get back on drugs? Child, didn't his son, Ike Jr., girl, mess around with the cracky too. I'm telling you. And I don't even blame the boy. Real talk, because I think addiction is genetic. It is. It's got to be. When I got out of jail, I was scared. The warden knew that there would be a lot of press there, so he tried to sneak me out before they arrived. But they had helicopters and followed me and got me anyway. I came on to LA and held a press conference with my daughter, Tawana. Then little Richard gave me 1,000 or 2,000 to get me started. He was there for me when I needed it. But all those people I done gave cars to, all those people I done gave diamonds to, I gave away a lot of shit in my lifetime. Boy, just gave it. They nowhere to be seen. I was released up where Tawana was. She works with the highway patrol up there. I moved in with her. Then I sent for Jeanette, and both of us were living at my daughter's house. I went to a few rehearsals with Tawana and her band. She sings and plays guitar too. She is a real good singer. After I'd been to 2 or 3 of their rehearsals, I went to where they were playing and sat on the keyboard and did a couple of numbers. Then I met this guy named Bobby Watson in Getta, a blues singer, a white guy. He got a good voice and he can play the blues, boy. I started to put together a show. I moved into Bobby's house, but then it got into some hassle, some sort of jealousy thing between him and Jeanette. What? What? Between him and Jeanette? I think they might have been fucking. I stayed for a few months. Then I decided to move out, get my own place. We got us a 2-bedroom apartment in Fairfield, California. Ernie Melby, Tawana's husband, moved in. He and my daughter had separated, which made it easier for me. The rent at the time wasn't but $480 a month. He paid half and I paid half. He had a steady income. I didn't. But I could hustle that little bit of money. Then I got to play in Jimmy's Lounge up in Oakland. I was trying to record also. I met this guy named Epi and his wife who were into management. Epi bought me an overcoat and gave me a suit. He and his wife were really helpful. Epi owned this big center where he rehearsed kids. He had this sound system in there, so I didn't have to pay for a rehearsal hall. I booked some dates in LA and Epi was going to handle the money. The first date was the Strand at the Roosevelt Hotel. Then we were going to play the Hollywood Hotel and the Arsenio Hall show. This woman in LA set up the Arsenio Hall show. I told her that I was not going to do the show with just me and the I Get. Listen, one thing Scorpios are, besides the devil, is loyal. Okay? And he wanted to get all his people paid. You're not just going to have me. No, that's not going to work. I got a trumpet player over here that I need to Pay. He been dealing with me. He believes in me. No, you gonna pay him. So he went back and forth with the people from the Arsenio Hall show until they said, okay. Bring everybody. That's right, goddamn. Then she called again and said they would take the whole entourage. Meantime, I flew in to play all 3 dates. I needed all 3 to break even. I couldn't get this woman on the phone before we left, so Epi used his credit cards to rent the vans and cars we needed. The TV station was going to pay us back our hotel bill. When we arrived in LA, this woman told me the Arsenio Hall show had been canceled. That put me in trouble. The money I had to pay out for the vans and the hotel bills and the food put me way in the hole, about $2,500 in the hole. So I called the network, and the lady from the Arsenio Hall show, she say, Ike, we're so sorry. We would have taken your show anytime. If we commit to 17 people or 100 people, we do it. But this woman here representing you, she was the worst. Ooh. You smack women for less, Ike. I've read in this book you smack bitches for less. We just couldn't communicate with her. Anytime you want to do the Arsenio Hall show, you call us or you get someone else to call us and we will gladly reschedule the show. Meantime, I am still in trouble because I got to play the Roosevelt and Hollywood hotels 2 nights. While we were playing the Roosevelt Hotel, Vernon Minow, a guy who used to record at my studio, came over there. Vernon has real long hair like a hippie. He said, Ike, I'm going to buy 100 tickets to come and see you. I got money now. So he reached in his pocket and put $2,500 in hand. Boy, that was a godsend. I paid my band and everything. Shit like that means a lot. It really does, because he's trying to resurrect his career. The person, Vernon, really doesn't know how much he helped Ike in that moment. Because remember, he's in a hole $2,500. After that, man, Vernon was helping me survive. We did a TV show and they paid for the rooms for us to stay another few days. It was for BET, Black Entertainment Television. The hostess of the day, she was so excited. She wanted to be an Ikeette for a day. So we dug her out a Tina wig and taught her the dance steps. We had fun that day. It was supposed to be just an hour show, but they did an hour one day and an hour the next. So Vernon said, why don't you come over and stay at my hotel and I will pay for your room and give you a limo to travel in. Vernon had fallen out with the people he got all this money from. He was going to do a concert for them. They got cold feet and Vernon got mad at them and they decided not to give him no more money. So that stops Vernon's money. Now he's in trouble and I can't help him. So he went to sell some jewelry and he made contact with Tom Gilbert and Lenny Marmar. Lenny was a fan of mine. He is just crazy about my music, like you wouldn't believe. He just believed in Ike Turner, man. He is a hope to die believer in me. Even with the situation that I'm going through right now, man, when you got people that believe in you, oh my God. Man, I'm going to say the fact that when I posted that GoFundMe, I had incurred, I think, like $1,200 in less than 24 hours. I still got a ways to go, you know. But the fact that people believed in me enough to contribute that in 24 hours, man, God bless y'all. So Lenny says he will pay for my recording so we could cut 4 or 5 sides, which would be $25,000 or $30,000. Then we went and I got a record deal. I would pay him back his money off the top. That was my deal with him. I told him that I was going to need money to live on while I did that. So Lenny said, no sweat. After the 15th, when my daughter gets married, I will be 100% behind you. And he gave me $500. I was staying at the Trade Winds Hotel, and every week, man, he would give me money for the bill and money to live on. He was 1,000% behind doing this thing. One weekend, Jeanette and I went to stay down at his house in La Costa near San Diego. Boy, I loved it down there. Lenny said, if you want to move down here, move down. So with his wife Karen and his daughter Robin, we went around looking for apartments. We found this place in Carlsbad and moved all the furniture from Fairfield over there. My bills got to be, $1,500 a month? He paid them all and gave me $500 a week to spend. I went and got Vera Hamilton, an ex-Ikette. She sang the shit out of a song I wrote called Do All I Can. We cut that and we redid Sexy Ida. We did 8 or 10 tunes, but I never gave it to the record company because by then trouble was looming again. Guess what the hell the trouble was, y'all?
You say that you love